Hi guys, welcome to Career and Corporate Hub. Nadine and Fikodani Hlajoyo. Today's interview is in the field of different fields, basically. So I'm sitting with Mutolisi. Mutolisi, welcome to Career and Corporate Hub.
Kutani, thanks for inviting me here today.
Yes, so the first degree that Mutolisi did was in pure and applied chemistry. And then an honors degree in extractive hydrometallurgy, mining and mineral engineering. Okay, and then we'll touch on other degrees after. So Mkolisi, let's start with your background, like the primary, high school, and then what made you choose pure and applied chemistry. And what is even pure and applied chemistry? Yeah, let's start just from the beginning.
Just from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, I grew up in a small village in northern KZN.
Okay.
So, I went to a local primary school in this area in Mpangeni. So, I went to this primary school. So, like any other kid, I wouldn't say there was much different from any other local or village school. So, I went through there.
When you say any difference, are you like referring to a lot of subjects were taught in Zulu, translated to English, like English subjects that would be taught in English? Yeah.
Yes, but I would say well-structured school can be a primary school.
That's good.
So yes, as you can say, it's a village school. Obviously, you grow up in a school that's almost similar to a home setup, where teachers are not just teachers, so they nurture you and mold you to become someone better after the primary stage. Then from there, I went straight to high school in Umlazi, where I went into a comprehensive...
Empangeni
yes,
to Umlazi.
Then to Umlazi, yes.
That's a distance.
That's a distance,
Yeah.
yes. So I went into this comprehensive technical high school in Umlazi, and by the name it's Umlazi Comprehensive Technical High School. So this is where I was exposed to technical subjects, for example, technical drawing, things like woodwork, electronics, I would say those were the subjects, but I didn't venture into that stream. I was more into the science stream, which was basically biology, physical science, maths, languages, and then I added on technical drawing because that's the subject I liked more within the technical space.
I've been looking at a technical school and you like drawing. I would assume that you would do like the technical subjects. Yeah.
So in my thinking or in my plans for my future, as much as I was in a technical school, but I wasn't really into the engineering space of it. So it was more like preparation for any possibilities after high school. So I always knew I liked science, hence I did biology and then physical science. So you remember as well that back in the day, those were the key subjects to entrance into university. So that's why I then decided on those subjects at the high school phase. So it was going to be a matter of making a right decision when it's time to go to the university.
Looking at moving from Empangeni to Umlazi, did you go to a boarding school?
Yes, the school was a boarding school, so it offered boarding facilities plus day scholars. So then obviously looking at the distance as well as you were mentioning, we then had to take the boarding option. So
and what made, I don't know, your parents to take you to Umlazi?
It's the school's reputation. Yes, the school's reputation. So at the time, even now I believe so, I have disconnected maybe with the school itself since I left 2006, I'd say. So the school's the reputation that followed it that then prompted my parents to even send us into the school.
Okay, I see. I believe you fell in love with chemistry. That's why you ended up doing pure and applied chemistry.
Yes.
Okay. So what inspired it?
I would say it came about with an understanding that with chemistry you can basically do a lot of things. So chemistry is involved in many, I would say, industries. It could be a manufacturing industry, it could be water and sanitation industry, pulp and paper industry, petroleum. There's quite a wide range of things that you can venture into if you have a chemistry qualification.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you knew about this from high school?
From high school.
That there's quite a lot of industries that you can
Yes.
venture into.
Yes.
And why pure? Just pure and applied
It's,
chemistry?
It's a complete degree. So,
Yeah.
for example, you will get all the core modules of chemistry, and then you will get, when it comes to applied, there is a lot of applications of chemistry applications that go
Yeah.
with it as well.
Yeah.
For example, if you're talking about the core, you're talking about the organic, the inorganic, the physical chemistry, then material science is also form part of that. But then if you go deeper into the course itself, you will find that there are so many applied chemistry scope or modules that then become part of this degree. So that's why it's referred to as pure and applied, because
Yeah.
you're basically looking at the entire scope of chemistry.
Mm.
And then the applications that come from there, those are for example, all the applied chemistry modules are the ones that enables a chemist to fit in various streams within any industry, I'll say.
Yeah.
That. For example, I am in automotive industry.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm coming from, previously I've been into the water, water purification industry. I've been into that. I've been into the minerals and mining industry as well.
Okay.
This is all through chemistry.
Yeah.
So there are still other areas I would like to venture into in future if time was on my side. But
What do you mean? You're so young.
yes, I am still young, but looking at as you grow older,
Okay, like your journey now.
is the journey. You need to, like, we're specializing in most of the time, so you need to narrow it down, find something that really makes you happy. That
Talking about specializing,
Yeah.
do you think that it's advisable for somebody to study pure and applied chemistry and not choosing like the a specialty?
For example, I'll put it this way: there are people who would go to school for analytical chemistry as a qualification.
Yeah.
Then there are people who, for example, in my case, I went for the
Pure.
entire scope.
Yeah.
So analytical chemistry was part of the scope that I did. So for me, I would say there are benefits to that, and there are also negatives to that.
Yeah.
For example, I'm not too sure. I won't talk about something I'm not into when I talk about analytical chemistry. But what I see is that it only exposes you to one part of chemistry, whereas with the entire scope, which is basically the bachelor's degree, you get exposed to a lot of streams within the chemistry space. So it makes it easy for one to choose where would they want to focus on in the future.
And now looking at your honors degrees, it's in extractive hydrometallurgy,
Yes.
mining and mineral engineering. You mentioned that you worked in a mining space as well. Is that what motivated you to do your honors in this field?
I was also looking at the career prospects,
Okay.
looking at the, I would say this, I was looking at the lucrative industry to be part of. So
Okay.
mining was the best at
That's
that time.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. When
So-
was this?
2011, 2012, yeah.
Okay.
So if you're
yeah.
looking at that space, you would understand that there were a lot of companies, I wouldn't even mention names, but there were a lot of companies which were in the mining space. And scholarships and bursaries for mining students were great.
Okay.
So yes, so that was part of it. And then once you've graduated from school, it was even something that was almost confirmed that you will be absorbed by the organization that took you through to college or university.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of factors that pushed me into the direction of minerals and mining. But
Okay.
over and above that, it was something that I was looking at, and I fell in love with it even when I was in school, because of many techniques that one would learn from this extractive hydrometallurgy. the latest methods of extracting minerals, for example, how gold will be extracted from an ore without using mechanical equipment, but rather using chemical mixes so that you are able to extract gold from ores. So there was a lot that took place during that time up until my time from mining and minerals came to an end.
I was about to say, it seems like it was short-lived, and then you moved to automotive.
It was short-lived. It was short-lived.
Yeah.
So, because of the nature of the person that I am very attentive to what we call it, situations around the world. I'll say that. For example, if you see that there are, I would say, unrests or anything that could negatively affect your livelihood career-wise in the long run. For example, if you remember in 2012, there was unfortunately distasteful situations in somewhere in Northwest America or something. So at that time, I was still in the extractive hydrometallurgy industry, and then what happened is I was then fortunate enough to be part of the recruitment drive that the company that I'm working for right now started to look for people to be part of the company. So what happened is, as I was in between facing a future that I would say was uncertain to me, so I wasn't really looking forward to that future because of that situation that happened in 2012. Then it was easy for me to make a decision now to transition from minerals and mining to automotive. Yes. Because when I came to automotive, it was more on the chemistry side as well, because I was joining the lab under the quality management division. So I saw it as a good opportunity. Little did I know that automotive offered the scope of work, which was also
like
interesting. Yes. So, but at the time, I only came for chemistry. I would say just chemistry stuff, nothing to do with metallurgy or anything like that, because I was working in a chemistry lab when I joined my previous company, I would say. So it was interesting at first. Obviously, everybody, when they think about, am I doing the right decision? Am I taking everything into consideration? I'm exactly where I was then.
I'm like looking at you now, thinking of we're gonna touch on it later, just after this.
So I came then to East London at the time, and I started working here in East London, and then grew out as well. Grew into a lot of positions as well within the previous company, the organization. Starting from the lower ranking positions to where I left off currently here.
And is it what motivated you to, because thereafter you did your postgraduate diploma in business administration, and then you did your MBA. Is that what motivated you to really?
So you can see that you as you work, if you thoroughly do your work in such a manner that it speaks for itself, you grow into a position. Once you grow into a position, it's like you get given an office. You run an office, but at some point, you will no longer learn anything.
You hit a brick wall.
Yes, you will no longer learn anything. Then that's when you need not necessarily a change of career, but you will take on more responsibility, because I never, since I started, I worked for I think 2 divisions, but what I was doing when I started versus what I was doing when I ended my career with my previous company, it's basically the same thing. It's just that I was taking more and more responsibilities as I move positions, but within the very same scope of work.
And just to summarize, like what you do at work as somebody who has applied, pure and applied chemistry, and also like an honors in
Okay. So,
your qualifications.
so-
Let's just say that. Yeah.
So, as a process engineer in paint shop, so
Okay.
I was, or I am still, even where I'm going, I'm still going to be doing the same almost scope of work.
Okay.
So basically the main responsibility is to provide or support the business unit to provide corrosion protection on car bodies. So I've been in that space, I would say, without interruption of service for about 8 years in a row. So
Sure.
my scope starts with managing process suppliers or process material suppliers to where we are managing on site when we are manufacturing. So we're making sure processes are optimized, processes are well within our organization guidelines, and we adhere to either local or international bylaws in terms of what waste do we generate. And then it comes to supporting the team as well, understanding our role and responsibilities, being the link between our local manufacturing sites and international sites as well. So the benchmarking processes where we're looking at best practices, and then we implement such best practices in each plant. So that's the space I've been playing in for I think for the past 8 years.
Okay. And looking at who I'm doing the end again. So sorry about that. I mean, looking at you running away from the engineering subjects in high school, and now you end up being a process engineer. How does it feel?
What can I say? It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting because one, I think there were people who even asked me that before.
Okay.
I said to them, what you learn as well at school not necessarily means you will be doing it, but what you learn from school prepares you for future challenges. So for example, because I'd say my engineering interaction or my engineering skills are coming more now, of which even if I always think if I did engineering back then, maybe I would have been bored by it and then maybe ventured into something else.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because now the way it's coming back and the requirements of my scope of work is that I need to understand not necessarily every each and component, but I needed to have a mind that can apply. If you're having a problem, I need to apply my mind to it, and then by doing so, I'm bringing up my chemistry background, my understanding of basic engineering for either chemical, mechanical. Sometimes it gets to a point where it becomes electrical.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking at is that it was important for me to do this chemistry qualification because it still helps the way I think, the way I see connection between engineering disciplines.
Yeah. And I mean, looking at engineering as a whole, or where you are now as a process engineer, had you studied chemistry, don't you think maybe it would have sort of like fast-tracked your career to get to where you are now? Or do you think there's no formula? The reason why I asked this question, look at a child that wants to pursue their career in pure and applied chemistry. Yeah, what would be your advice? Yeah, looking at where you are now.
I would say they need to take on the challenge with an open mind. That's number one. You need to understand that I could have been anywhere, not necessarily in automotive.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you did this pure and applied chemistry qualification, one can go straight to pharmaceutical, where they will work in the pharmaceutical industry. You fit in that space. The second space is one can go and work, for example, in the pulp and paper industry. You will fit in that space. You go and work in refineries, like your I would say petrol SA engines, stuff like this. Those are the refineries. You fit in that space.
Yeah.
What's important, really important, is during your studying days, I would say during your tertiary days, that's the most important time if you want to excel in future, or to be, not to excel, but I would say just to be successful in future, because the manner in which you deliver results subject wise, so let's say you study for whatsoever exam, it's important that you score good grades or good marks, because it's the nature of the course itself. I want to put this in a very good context, that you need to understand that if you are a chemist, you must be someone who will be deemed as a high caliber person. But it doesn't have to be that way. I'm just putting it like that.
Why is it? Because you're dealing with chemicals that are dangerous. So
yes, it's the nature of the course itself.
Okay.
One has to demonstrate good understanding and has to demonstrate good practical knowledge as well.
Yeah.
So you really have to be in it. And then from there, that creates a stepping stone towards your career.
Yeah.
Because imagine companies in South Africa, we are not really into R&D space that much as other countries.
Yeah.
But the moment you start
R&D being
research and
research
development,
and development.
yes. So you need to understand that we've got already limited resources into this space. So organization, when they take you on, they really want someone who's going to support the business unit.
Yeah.
Because in most cases, there's never been a company where you see a big number of chemists versus.
I was about to come to that as well. That I mean, looking at the automotive company, there aren't a lot of people who like from basically positions for chemistry people. Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying you need to be very open-minded. If you are able to get good grades, just get them. Just make sure you are always on top of your game, because that's what will distinguish you from everybody else. And then that way, that creates opportunities for you in future.
Yeah, and I think if I could link that to when you apply for a graduate program in different companies, they look at your results. So that's like your first entry to entering to good companies. Yeah. And now, looking at where you are going now, going abroad, moving abroad, are you happy?
Yeah.
It's a big step, hey?
At first, yes. I wasn't sure at first.
Okay. But you applied.
Yes, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But now, looking at the scope, looking at what I understand today, and from what we also spoke about, that one needs to grow and be challenged.
Yes.
So that's one part of it that made me to realize that I must take this opportunity. And then I am excited about the new role, to be precise. And one thing as well that I always wanted in life, I never wanted to jump that much between jobs. So this opportunity came at the right time. It came at a time where I was looking for new challenges, but within the same environment. I think I've given myself time to grow within the paint shop division in the automotive industry. So there is more that one can still learn within the paint shop. If I can tell you that in 10 years, I've only spent time in one department. So there's basically four main departments within the paint shop. So throughout my previous or my career right now, I've only spent, I would say, my 10 years has been spent around paint shop, but one department. I've been in one department. The other departments, I only have basic info. So, for example, I would like to integrate now the paint application process into my knowledge. What do you call knowledge? Or what's up? I don't know what to say. But I want to add the paint application. Now.
So are you moving to a different department?
No,
But in paint shop or?
No, I'm still going to be within the corrosion department still.
Okay.
As a senior process engineer. So now, because I am more experienced in the corrosion protection department, so I want to start working as well with the paint application teams, so that I would say in the next few years, I am not only equipped to work in one place within the paint shop, but maybe 2 or 3 other departments where I can fit. So that's where I'm looking at going forward. And the good thing is, after discussions I've had with my new employer, is that there are opportunities of not being confined in one department, but you work in projects with other departments as well. So that's an opportunity now.
And I think it's a company that's growing.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm sure you'll be one of the first people to implement processes and
No, there are processes already running,
okay.
but there will be great contributions as well from my side to the business. Yes.
Yeah. And I heard you earning millions
No.
plus shares.
No, let's I know there have been stories around it, but
Yes.
I wouldn't confirm it that way.
You've received your contract.
Yes,
But obviously the money is good.
The money is good, the benefits are good. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, good can be relative as well. Looking at you moving abroad, like completely new company, like.
It's the benefits the most, and yes, the scope of work itself, and one is to mention that you're looking at the place of work, a country itself as well. There is a lot to learn. So besides just me saying I'm benefiting from one part of it, but I'm looking at what's more to it, what's there to learn. So the country that I'm going to is known as one of the very most advanced countries in the world,
especially in automotive. Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, at this opportunity as a learning phase, just an opportunity to go and learn. There is still a lot that we as a country, South Africa as well, need to do in terms of contributing into the automotive space. So if there are opportunities that come through for South Africans like myself and other colleagues who took on this as well, this same assignment, there is a lot that in future we might be contributing back into our country as well.
I actually like that thinking that bringing back to
yes,
to
at some point.
Yes. So, by the way, Mxolisi is moving to Germany, Berlin. Unfortunately, I can't mention the name of the company, but he's moving to another automotive company. And where did the idea of moving to Germany came about?
I think also with the opportunity we get from working from my previous employer, we would travel to Germany many times.
Yes.
So it got to a point where I can see the working culture in Germany, how people are working. There are so many things that are interesting, as I've mentioned. Is the campus being advanced. So there is a lot that's taking place in Germany. So I got into a point of thinking, what if I was to come here, maybe initially on an assignment, maybe on a short-term basis, maybe like a 2-year or a 3-year assignment. But because of work requirements, one can never just be sent away. So you need to look into all of those things. That the times we spent in Germany, then that's when I realized that I can learn a lot here and not necessarily take away, or it's like stealing if I put it that way, but I can learn a lot, help the organizations in Germany as well, contribute, at the same time learn, and also support my country automotive industry as well.
I mean, there is a huge shortage in terms of, I mean, we don't have our own cars.
Yes.
Even though we've got plants, like German plants,
Yes.
other countries' plants,
American
but
plants.
we don't have our own like products that we can say this is a South African made vehicle. Yeah. So do you see yourself like creating a car one day?
Yes, obviously, not one person can do that alone.
Yeah.
So with a lot of young engineers going to support other plants internationally, if one can look at it and say and start thinking that in future our government will rely on us
No, definitely.
to support the skills development, to support the country's economy. So if we do get to a point where our government invests in local talent, where we're looking for maybe we as a group of people might be put together in future to look into such topics, who knows? It's just that by that time when we get there, there will be a lot of engineers from our own country who would be ready to take on such responsibilities and lead such projects in the future.
What type of personality must one have in order for them to get to where you are now? I mean, you look like a very introverted person. Am I right or wrong?
I would say you are right,
Yeah.
but one must always be hungry for information. I would say you don't have to show, but you must be hungry. It's something that you must always strive. You must always strive to win. Always strive to learn new things. That's what I can say. You must understand that you do not know everything. So you must always seek new information, understand what's out there, keep yourself informed, and one must also understand not just the manufacturing but the business environment, how all of that comes into one place.
I'm sure that's why you did your MBA, to understand the nature of the business.
Because I wanted to understand how businesses work. Influencing factors, what makes successful businesses to be successful. And it also helps one's thinking capability as well, because you're no longer thinking one part about the business. Because, for example, if you're working as an engineer, you will always be thinking about equipment, processes and stuff. But at some point you need to think in a business context. What does it mean? How does it relate? What you do to a business?
And that is very true. I mean, I did mention it in one of my interviews before that when I did my postgraduate diploma, I was shocked at what like HR holds. Like I used to literally just look at HR as HR, but like really studying it like as a module, it widened my thinking.
And your knowledge about
my knowledge as well. So, in closing, is there a question that you think I didn't ask? And if there is, how would you have answered it?
I think we covered most of the things. Maybe if you were to ask what would be your advice to young kids? I would say to not just necessarily to young kids only. I always wish to see everybody successful. So it means everything you start, put your energy to it, drive it to completion. Because that's the step. Everything you started, it's something that one sat down, thought about and planned. That's a step that must be completed in life. So in this context, if you're studying something, study it through, because when you sat down, when you had time to sit and think, it created a path that you saw in your vision. So it's important that whatever you start, you finish.
You must always follow through.
Yes.
And what's next? I mean, moving to Germany, like what are you looking forward to? What are you scared of? Like missing?
scared of missing my country.
Okay.
Yes.
Why? I mean, we've got load shedding.
It's obviously one. You need to understand that I'm going to stay in a different place with a different culture.
Yes.
So in my mind, that I've already prepared myself that I will experience culture change. So that I cannot do anything about it. That's the only thing maybe that gives me even what do you call it, goosebumps.
Yes, when you think about it, it's
Yeah.
like,
It's the culture.
yeah.
Otherwise, everything else I think I should be fine.
Okay. Yeah. I think you didn't answer me. Do you guys get shares? Going back to my money question. Guys, like, I'm sure you've seen with a lot of my interviews, I don't ask how much do the guys earn because I know people who work in corporate, they don't want to answer that question. Even if I were to ask him how much were you earning in your previous job, he's not gonna answer me.
The thing is, that's written confidential. Confidential. So now I think it will not be a good idea to share the content of the document, but I wish I could, but I'm not sure where we stand with that.
Maybe in terms of percentage, like from what you were earning with your previous company to what you're going to earn.
Okay.
What is the increase?
What I would say is, like for example, companies these days, they offer signing bonuses. So it's not really shares, but I would say it's a signing bonus. So that's
Signing bonus.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a signing bonus. So it's one of, I think, the company, when they set down maybe as a company, it's a retention factor.
Is it not like you're moving
No,
compensation
that's
or it has
separate.
nothing to do?
That's separate. It's separate. And it works differently. You do have that as part of the package as well.
Okay.
And then you also have benefits like any other company, for example, the medical aid, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those are there as well.
Yeah.
And then you get the opportunities as well to buy a company car. You get that. I'm not sure about leasing, but buying, I know about that.
Okay,
Then,
at a lower price.
I would say at a staff price.
Okay, what is the staff price? I mean, I heard like a staff price can be 1% lower.
Yes, it can be. It can be
I don't know,
1% or, but it's a percent. It's a determined percentage by the organization. At this point, I'm not too clued up as to how it works as well.
Yeah, but those are one of the benefits.
Yeah, I remember Germany itself. You will live peacefully without a car. So
using trams.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay. No, thank you so much for coming. I highly appreciate you accepting my interview, and I'm sure somebody that is looking into moving abroad this interview will come handy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Kodani, as well, for inviting me.
Okay.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, and all the best with your new, let me just call it adventure. Yeah, I've been moving from here to like go to Germany, and it's like really for me, it's an adventure.
Yeah.
So all the best. I'm sure you're gonna do well.
Yes.
Yeah. So please don't forget us when you get there.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.